there is no time, there is no space. But at a relative level, it's legitimate and necessary to speak of objects and time and space. It's not, in other words, we can use the concepts, time, space, objects, people, and so on. The concepts of these entities is not problematic. What's problematic is when that concept becomes downgraded to a belief, and that we believe that those concepts refer to things that really exist in their own right.
So none of these things exist independently of consciousness, but within consciousness.
It's worse than that, Francis. None of these things exist dependent on consciousness. Nothing exists, period. No thing exists.
But then how do you explain what's going on? How do you explain the
what's going on is an appearance. When you have a dream, when you dream you're on a Caribbean beach, the beach, the trees, the water, the sand, the people, and so on, they all seem to exist. For the person in the dream, for the person sitting on the deck chair and the Caribbean beach, the deck chair, the sand, the water is very real. They seem to be real objects. When you wake up, you realize there were no objects there. No object existed in my dream. The time and space that seemed to be real in my dream were utterly unreal from the perspective of the waking state. Well, we're in a kind of dream state here, where time and objects and space seem to be real from our localized points of view. But when we wake up, when we go from the dream state to the waking state, and from the waking state up one level to consciousness, it's like waking up from a dream. There are no objects here. There's no time and space. It's all the appearance of, it's all how the act, just as the dream state is how the activity of the finite mind appears from the localized perspective of a character in that dream. So the objects, time and space that seem to appear in the waking state are how the activity of a universal mind, universal consciousness, appears from the perspective of a separate subject of experience in that state. That's from each of our points of view. So from our point of view, yes, it looks as if there's time, space, and objects. That's just an appearance.
Well, I've heard you make this dream analogy many times, and are you saying that at some point, all of us who came here today to this retreat and are sitting in this room having this conversation with you, that none of this is actually happening except as a dream in the mind of consciousness?
That's what I'm saying.
And will consciousness ever wake up and say, oh, there was no retreat, there was no...
Wake up right now. Do that right now. Just see right now that there are no objects, no people, no discrete, independently existing things. There are the appearance of things. Yes, I acknowledge that. But when we touch those things, when we try to find a thing in itself, you never find it. It's just how it appears from this localized point of view.
That's so difficult, Rupert, because it's implying that none of this is actually happening. We're not having this conversation.
No, we are having this conversation, but this conversation is an appearance.
That means it's made out of awareness. It's
all
reality.
That's there. All that's there is consciousness.
That I can accept. I can accept that all of this is happening, but it's made out of consciousness, not matter.
But yes, it's all the activity of consciousness, just like the dream is all the activity. The dream we have at night is the activity of our finite mind. It only appears to be matter from the localized perspective of the character in the dream. So all of this is the activity of infinite consciousness. It only appears to be made out of matter from our localized points of view.